Based upon the reports that the court has reviewed, the court will find that the defendant is competent to continue to proceed.
All right, Joe DiBenedetto joins us now. Joe, explain what Judge Belvin Perry was saying. We talked earlier, you and I, and insanity and competency are two different things. He's talking about competency, saying maybe something happened. The defense was saying during this trial that she cannot go on, that Casey cannot proceed.
Exactly. Insanity deals with, at the time that the crime is committed, did she operate under a mental disease or defect that where she didn't have the ability to understand right from wrong. Competency is a bit different. We're here in present terms. Currently, at trial, does she have the ability to assist her attorney during trial, and does she have the ability to understand the proceedings? This is clearly an issue that Jose Baez raised based on something that Casey must have told him. She must have been exhibiting some signs, and that's how the motion was filed.
All right, right now I'm watching the trial in a big screen and studio here. It looks like they're in sidebar. Earlier this morning, Yuri Melich, the lead detective on this case, was on the stand, and Jose Baez was talking to him about Roy Crunk. We have been hearing a lot about Roy Crunk. He is the so-called meter reader who discovered little Kaylee's remains. Let's listen to Yuri Melich on the stand earlier this morning.
The time period in question for Mr. Crunk as to his involvement in this case begins in August and ends in December.
That's correct.
And he is the gentleman that found Kaylee Marie Anthony's body.
Yes.
And you did not seek phone records for any of those time periods from August to December of 2008.
Correct.
There you have it. Jose Baez poking holes, poking holes, poking holes. Joe, what do you think? How do you think Jose Baez is doing with the lead detective here, who I thought was a very strong witness for the prosecution?
He's doing the best that he can with the material that he has to work with. One issue that you had raised earlier was this lead detective interviewed Casey, and he was very, very forceful. And one way to look at it is he gave her enough rope to try and help herself, but at the same time, he gave her enough rope to hang herself. He wanted an admission from her. He wanted her to make his case easier. And unfortunately for him, he didn't get what he was looking for. So there's two ways to look at that recording. It could be viewed as you know, him following proper procedures, or him pressuring her, trying to get her to say something that she didn't want to say.
Joe, that is an excellent point, because he was saying there's two ways to look at this. I've seen cases year after year. I've been doing this 30 years. So you bring up an excellent point that he could have been kind of coaxing her, if you will, to tell the truth, to tell the detective what happened to Kaylee, because at that point, no one was saying anything, and they were going on a wild goose chase following this girl, Casey, even going to her work, Universal, and she finally said when they got inside, okay, I don't work here. So they were catching her in lie after lie, and they had it, and they wanted an admission. And as you said, maybe it was good interrogation tactics to try to help her, or, if you will, to hang her, just to get her to say something, to tell the truth, something she never did. And that is what Jose Baez used in his opening statement, saying, yes, she's a liar. Something's not right with this family. The whole family is lying. And in one particular point, he brought up that she was 7 months pregnant at a party, and no one talked about it. I want you to hear this, Joe, if you haven't heard it already. It's Lee Anthony getting upset. This was on Friday, talking about how he felt left out when Casey was pregnant with Kaylee. Take a listen.
I was very angry at my mom, and I was also angry at my sister. I mean, I was just angry at everyone in general that they didn't want to include me, and didn't find it important enough to tell me.
Joe, do you find that odd at all? I don't have a brother. I don't know. Maybe he's just upset that he didn't feel involved, but the dynamic there seems a bit off to me. Does it to you?
Exactly, and I think that's what Jose Baez was looking to show, that the dynamics of this family that they are strange, that they are weird, that if somebody does something within this family does not necessarily mean that every family member will know exactly what's going on. So it's not so much what's being said, it's what you can infer from what's not being said. So, you know, him crying, him coming off as a bit odd, sort of lends credibility to what Jose Baez is trying to build.
Joe, great point. Dr. Furton is on the stand again.